Oh, oh my goodness. There you are. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing a little bit of your time with me. I've been exploring some of what exists inside Office 365. It's inside of all of our companies and quite available, if not already paid for in many of our homes. And there is so much. If you come over here to the whatever we call this little hamburger dude here, and we hit all apps, you're going to find just a lot of delicious stuff that they've thrown in. All right. Now, the one we're exploring today is forms, and we'll probably explore a bunch of these together if it's useful to others. But yeah, let's do forms. So I came into forms, and there is this new quiz. And it looks like there are other things coming online every day. I haven't played with any of these and haven't really played with the templates. Just starting with a new blank form. All right. And so now that we're in the form editor, we can give it a name. And I've been thinking about different ways to do this. So we'll just do a silly family week quiz, something like this. But the reference point here is probably doing this within a company. You might be doing this with 50 or hundreds or thousands of people. I, the most, use these now to host live online calls where maybe I'm working with, assessing, evaluating, interacting with a dozen teams at once. So you might have 40 or 50 people, and they'll use the first screen, and I'll show you how to make different sections, but they'll use the first screen to kind of give some semi-identifying data. What team are you on? What role do you play on that team? Are you part of the delivery or non-delivery flow? Some of these things. So let's mock this up real quick and get some data flowing and see the end-to-end. So Family Week quiz, just a little something to exercise the MSForms app. All right. And so we can dive right into asking questions. I'm going to add a section for a minute and call this semi-identifying section. And we have these choices for controls. They're a small set, but hiding in each one are a few options that make it pretty delicious. So choice could be a bunch of checkboxes, a bunch of options. You can only choose one, like the option circle, or a drop-down list, right? So kind of a three-in-one. Text, you have single line text, and you have multi-line text, a bit of a two-in-one. And rating, you have stars or you have numbers, and you can kind of choose the range or how many. We'll call that a two-in-one. And date is date. You also have, this is just a blurb, which I believe is already in the top. If not, we'll add it. And this helps folks understand based on maybe the section or the entire thing, how long it seems to take folks to get through the thing. So it's just kind of a little built-in, a little reporting mechanism. Haven't played much with Linkert, I imagine, or it looks like it might be a second product. We'll kind of take a look at that. The Net Promoter Score, oh my gosh, I've thought about and talked about and kind of thought I understood NPS scores for a while, but calculating them is brutal. And more to play with that. But if you want to add an NPS score, that's informative. It's pretty cool. And then sections. I do a lot of breaking it into different sections. When you generate the final result, those will be next buttons. And so you kind of have a wizard flow. We're in section 1, and now you do section 2. You can go back and forth, etc. All right. So we have our section, and the first thing we're going to ask is a little semi-identifying questions here. Let's pretend that a bunch of us families were cooperating. So which family team are you on? And we could say family, last name, whatever, family 1, family 2. All right. Now we're going to say, what role do you play? So let's say kiddo or parent. And we'll say kiddo, and we'll say parent. All right. Now I want to make this a little tougher because on Teams, what role you play is a little bit tougher to roll out. So what I end up doing here is I'll do like teammate, maybe delivery. It depends on the organization and where they're at in their growth, but maybe teammate delivery, teammate testing. Maybe these two delineations are still important, and then maybe product owner, scrum master, business analyst, chief architect, you know, all these people that are either working with more than one team, right? So they're not fully dedicated, they're not there with the team delivering the sprints or whatever you're doing. And so now we can derive from this list, and then I just filter, right? It either does or does not have the word teammate in it, and now I can see the difference between the delivery team and the non-delivery team roles on that. So our query will be much easier when we get to it because we're not working that out. Just know it's not a big deal if you want to have a just bury something of a query in them so that you can filter on it later and you'll be able to consolidate those roles pretty easily. All right, and maybe now we're ready to go to our next section, and we're going to say school and related. Maybe we're going to add a, whoops. All right, so I said, whoops, I don't want this. I don't want this here anyway, so I'm just going to get the trash can. I'm right back to where I was. And I'm going to add a rating. We're going to say, how was your week socially? School, outside school. All right, I'm going to leave it stars at 1 to 5. We'll explore a little bit more here. Maybe I want to add some labels and help describe, right? This is low, this is high, or maybe give some examples, these kinds of things. So I'll leave that. Let's do now what are one or more things that came up this week socially that we might all lean in on together, strategize, learn from. All right, and here we had short answer by default or long answer, so that just changes the size of the response. Okay, we got a little subtitle to describe the question further. Keep going here. Let's do another rating, and let's say, how was your week at school? Grades, tests, classes, homework. All right, maybe I want this one to be like up to 10. I want a little more breathing room in here. And I think I'm going to do that here as well. Keep them together. And let's say I just want to take a copy of this one, so I can hit this little copy icon. Now I have two, they're the same, and we could push one down. All right. And this one, we're going to say, what are one or more things that came up this week related to grades, tests, classes, homework that we can celebrate with you? And let's add a little further description here. We'll say, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, sometimes it just hurts. First two here, next one, and the next question. All right, long answer. I'm going to add another text question. I'm going to say, take that, paste it there. That hurt or were notably on your mind, and we could all lean into slower, talk about, consider. All right, no need for a subtitle on this one, so I'm going to remove it. Do want to support a long answer. And now we got some questions up, right? Maybe we'll add a final section here. And whoops, yep, that's section, closing evaluations. And maybe now I want to add an NPS score. How likely are you to recommend Dad for an amazing award? And maybe I'm going to add one for Mom. All right. Pretty brave there. Probably should not share this now. Cool. So there we go. We have some sections. If I wanted to insert something anywhere, you just kind of touch the thing you want to edit, and then you'll see your add new buttons come up, and you can certainly move things up and down in the list and make copies of things. But I think we've done a little bit of everything here, and we have a little bit of a form ready to go. And while I'm in this sort of blue-green colored area, I know I'm in the editor. I'm editing the questions and at some point evaluating those responses. So let's say I like this and I'm ready to use it on a live call. I'm ready to have folks, give them a 24-hour limit to get in and fill it out. Most things are going to just end up this link. So we can get the link, we can bury the link in an email. We could create a QR code people could scan just because it's fun that brings them to this link and put that wherever we want. Print it, put it on things. We could build an embed, like an iframe, in a website or things that support that kind of technology, and then others would be able to interact fully with this and never leave your site, and it'll just seem like something you delivered through your site. That's pretty cool. And then Facebook, Twitter, these social shares are just going to again share this link. So we have our link. We pretend we're one of the kids or parents or somebody coming through. We're in family one. We're one of the kiddos, kind of partially identifying data. How was school? What is these social media strategies I learned from? Saw a fight this week in the hallway. Was thinking a lot on what I can, should, might do in these situations. Perhaps we can all chat it up. All right. Had a good week. Great week at school. Had a sub in science that really helped the entire class to recover from last week's test scores, test knowledge gap. And he was fun. So, yeah. All right. What are my things coming to that hurt? Let's say I felt a bit distracted this week by all the affairs going on overseas and here still with and locally with masks, COVID, potential, just lots. Perhaps my siblings are feeling some of the same, and we can all chat this up. All right. Closing evaluations. Dad for an amazing award. Oh, Dad, there's always room for growth. Mom, nailing it, and we're out of here. All right, now I'm going to just throw in a bunch more data because I feel like the next parts are going to really benefit having a bit of data. So if we go back to our editor, we see those responses we're pouring in. And they're actually broken a piece at a time, a question at a time. And if we clear and or create fresh for each live moment, we can easily watch that data come in real time and use it right there live on the call. We can understand where what folks are answering and where they're coming from, etc. So detail wise, right, we see some twos and some nines, right? Maybe there's something to talk about right here on the call, or we're going to take this data away here in a moment, but it's pretty cool to see this. Now, MPS scores are brutal to calculate, and so it's kind of fun. We'll see how that data range plays in, but I referenced and thought I knew about MPS scores until I started playing with these, and I understood, like, if you start with a high score, you have to maintain this high score, or your MPS forever remembers how you've performed in the past. Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, so we're going to go back to the top. We're going to hit this open in Excel. Now, this is just a one-way relationship. You can't like edit this data and then shove it back over here. So once you have it all highlighted, go to Table, Convert to Range. Yes, we'd like to convert this table down to a normal range. All right. and we want to name that range. So once it's all highlighted in this top left corner, we can just name this our main data. All right. So now we have a named range. As you move around, if you were to highlight it again, it'll say main data. Cool. So let's say that we wanted to break each team. In this case, we'll call it family 1 and family 2, right? So we want to isolate the data coming out of both of those to the right sheet. So what I do is come in here, insert, data from other query. I'm going to choose Excel. All right, and then we can see the table that we had created. Here's the name of it. I'm going to move all of those columns over. If we wanted to filter at this level, we don't. We're going to let the data come in. Oh, no, we do. We were talking about family. So let's go to which family team are you on equals family 1. All right, cool, cool. We like it. Take it. Do it. So all the family 1 data has come over, and we have some kiddos and we have some parents. It looks like we might have had some family 2 data, so I'm going to change those to family 1. All right. Now, if we come back here, we should be able to refresh. Let's see, where is our view? Nope, data, queries, and connections. We can refresh this data. There we go. Cool, super cool. Now, what do we want to do with it? We want to now pivot the kiddos and parents out. So let's sort for a minute by that. So now the data is kind of cleanly separated. We might want to aggregate all the rows, so to speak. So we might want to say average of, and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to stop just shy of the top there. Come back here and edit this to be 3. All right, so I have the aggregate I want, but I avoided using the name of the column to build it. So now I can simply reuse it. That'll be handy here in a minute also. All right, so all the ones that can have aggregate values do. Let's take just the kiddos for a minute. So an easier way to do that, let's go back home here. If I start here, shift, down, control, right. That didn't give me everything, but it was a little easier. All right, so I've copied the kiddos data, and I want to paste it as values. I want to remove all the extra formatting and tableness and disconnect it from that data relationship for a minute. Maybe I'll call this one kiddos. All right, and then I want to do the same for the parents. Values. All right. I'm going to take this little aggregate thing. Well, it won't work here. Maybe it will. Let's see. We'll do average of, and we'll just take these. Borrow that and reapply it here and here and here. All right. Cool. So now that we have those aggregates, I'm going to collapse the raw data for a moment. Whoops. We want to keep the titles. I forgot to grab the titles. Hang tight. Insert values again. Create a little breathing room. right, now we have those titles. I'm going to get rid of the raw data. Nope, I'm going to need to take these answers and insert them back as values again, so there's no more calculations in them. And I'm going to delete all that. I'm going to take these and do the same, so no more calculations. Zip. Awesome. Now what do we have? We have our kiddos and parents data. Let's take one copy of the header and values. We're going to come down here, and now we're going to do transpose. And so transpose, under these paste special options where we did value, transpose means take these columns and turn them into rows. So we see the question and we see the answers, some textual and some data-driven. So for a moment, I'm going to take the text ones, scoot them out of the way. And we'll consider these are interesting data points for a moment. All right. And if we wanted to name these, so I'm just going to pull these out for a minute. We would say question. We would say kiddos. And we would say parents. So let's go grab those parent values, those averages of the parent scores, transpose. Wasn't watching what happened there, but we'll just call it 7. All right. So now if we go insert recommended charts, I like this function, go to all charts, and you're actually playing with your real data. So if you look close enough, you'll see these are those values. Maybe a line chart would make the most sense. So we can follow, in this case, what did the kiddos versus what did the parents feel about all these different things. All right, let's do that. And I think these we can rotate on axis. All right, well, you get the point. It's play and play. Now, the beauty of this is, and often we'll find like, hey, look here, the non-delivery team has high confidence this project's going to deliver on time and on budget and there's no stress. But the delivery team aggregate suggests this project is not going to deliver it on time, on budget, and there's a lot of stress, right? You can find all these beautiful moments in the data where the disconnects teach us things, the connections teach us things, and then when we sort the whole thing by overall values, we can then see, hey, maybe the most important things to focus on are these lower range, right? Something that's a 2 or below can unlock a lot of services and opportunities to drill in and do some learning. And maybe if there's some groups that are averaging very high numbers on some things, the other side of the scale, let's interview them, let's learn from them, let's lean in together and figure out how do we spread what's working and what's good so that we can all have more success. So this was silly, but I hope it introduced you in a useful way to just how easily you can throw some surveys out, use them live while you're on the call to help aggregate all of this wonderful data and a mixture of empirical data that's harder to test but wonderful to gather over time, do trends analysis, and start to see when we lean in and attempt to affect change in the system, are we actually able to see that change being felt and exhibited at those who are making good on our promises? I hope there was something in there for you today. Let me know if you think it would be good to take some of these other products in the Office 365 family to task and share them with you. I hope this has been fun, and if you make a cool survey, let me know. I'd like to see where you go with this. Until next time, cheers. Bye bye.